So Donald Trump decided to attack Iran. This is a map. You can see there are multiple explosion attacks all over the country. Iran has then counterattacked, and that is going to multiple countries as well. It's honestly hard to keep track of everything. I want to go over as much as I can, as basically the whole region is destabilized at the moment. You head over to Al Jazeera, right? They got Netanyahu. He's going to say we have to attack Iran, Israel, and USA. And then you get all these different reports, and there's so much right now. Explosion reported in northwest Iran, right? And I just showed you the map. And you keep hearing about more attacks, like it's still ongoing. It's not just one wave; it's multiple. And then it was just a few minutes ago, I was hearing reports of, I think there was a Navy base that was hit. I want to say Bahrain. I can see more updates are coming in. This is the Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard. They say claims all Israeli and U.S. military targets in the Middle East have been struck by, quote, powerful blows of Iranian missiles. This operation will continue relentlessly until the enemy is decisively defeated. So that's the rhetoric from there. And it's gonna go on like this, right? Trump's gonna say we have to eliminate you, and the round's gonna say, well, no, we have to eliminate you. I mean, nothing can come good about this. Let's be frank. It's a terrible situation right now. I guess Trump's gonna give some sort of speech, supposedly. Here's from the EU. What do they say? European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and European Council President Antonio Costa have said developments in Iran are, quote, greatly concerning. We call on all parties to exercise maximum restraint to protect civilians and to fully respect international law. So that's coming from the EU. In close coordination with the EU member states, we will take all necessary steps to ensure that EU citizens in the region can count on our full support. So you're going to be hearing a lot of these statements from multiple countries coming out. Qatar condemns Iranian missile attacks, says it reserves the right to respond. So are we now going to get attacks from Qatar to Iran? I mean, this again, we're talking about this is spreading. Safety of residents, visitors, top priority, says Dubai's media office. Dubai media office says it's continuing to operate with safety of citizens and visitors as top priority following Iranian attacks. British Airways cancels Tel Aviv, Bahrain flights. I'm just going over just what is going on. Now you have explosions in Tel Aviv. This is just a few minutes ago. New wave of Iranian missiles target Israel. Israeli army says sirens were sounded a short while ago. And then you're going to hear this kind of stuff. I'll show you guys.
And with regard to British citizens and personnel in the Middle East, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office has just said this: due to reported missile attacks, British nationals in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar and the UAE, United Arab Emirates, should immediately shelter in place. They should remain indoors in a secure location, avoid all travel.
That's what people are saying, right, from the UK. It was a similar thing. We just got our news here in Korea, basically telling people to be safe, shelter in place.
Yeah, the air raid sirens have just started again here in Jerusalem. We've been getting a series of...
And it's hard to stop this stuff because, again, Trump decides to attack. Then Iran decides to counterattack. And then you say, oh, well, you just attacked me. Then I'm going to attack you again. Right? Like, when does this end?
Well, that is the US president. I'm here in Abu Dhabi in the UAE, and the UAE has just closed its airspace after explosions were heard in Abu Dhabi. I have to say I'm here with my colleague Paula Hancock, and we both heard those explosions on two separate occasions over the last 10 minutes or so. What can we report at this point?
Well, Becky, you're right. Just about a minute ago, we heard 3 or 4 booms. We know now that the airspace in this country, in the United Arab Emirates, is closed. We also know there have been reports of explosions in Bahrain. We did have, just shortly before this, alerts from the US embassies, both here in the UAE and in Bahrain, giving a shelter-in-place order. That was...
And I'll show you guys this. This is, it's all the embassies. So U.S. Embassy Amman. The U.S. Embassy in Jordan is Implementing a shelter in place for all personnel. We recommend all Americans do the same until further notice. And this is what they want you to do. Find a secure location within your residence or another safe building. Have a supply of food, water, medications, and other essential items. Avoid demonstrations. Keep a low profile and stay aware of your surroundings. Monitor local media for breaking news. Be prepared to adjust your plans. Keep your phone charged and maintain communication with family and friends to inform them of your status. And then contact the Jordanian police by dialing 911 if you have immediate danger. And this is, I don't know what to say. I mean, this is the situation that you're putting Americans in the same. So they'll say the same thing to U.S. citizens in Qatar. It's going to be the whole region.
The shelter here. Well, we are in the car and there is a siren that has gone out and we need to rush into a shelter. So we are heading out right now. Even as I speak, there is a siren that's gone off. We are in a neighborhood here in Tel Aviv and rushing into a shelter. This is immediately after the strikes that happened from US and Israel towards Iran. And now we are heading towards the locality. This is a bomb shelter. The other locals also heading there. This is underground that we are going. And this is where a lot of other locals have come in as well. You can see right behind me, I'm at the bomb shelter. Immediately after the sirens came in. So we don't know what happens, but Iranian strikes could happen. And that's the latest that we are picking up. This is Aditya Rajkol reporting for NDTV from Tel Aviv in Israel.
This is also talk. It's in Australia. This is an international story because multiple countries are involved with this.
Another interesting thing about Anthony Albanese, Penny Wong and Richard Marles' statement, that first sentence, Australia stands with the brave people of Iran in their struggle against oppression. To me, that is political propaganda. What they actually mean, they don't say it, but what that sentence should say, if they're being accurate, if the Prime Minister of Australia is telling the truth, it should say Australia stands with Israel and the US in their new war on Iran. So that is absolute, in my assessment, political propaganda. And then they go on to talk about, you know, Iran directed at least 2 attacks on Australian soil in 2024. These appalling acts targeting Australia's Jewish community were intended to create fear, divide our society and challenge our sovereignty. The whole point of America and Donald Trump in the last few months has been this is about Iran's nuclear program. Yet suddenly the United States, Israel and Australia have completely changed their rhetoric, and it's now everything Iran's done. In 1983 they did this. This is not about the nuclear program in my assessment. This is about an attempt by Israel and the United States for regime change, and really interesting to see Australia.
And that's what I keep seeing a lot of, to where they're hitting multiple targets, right? So it's not just, say, for example, if Trump just wanted to target the nuclear program, just hit a few sites. That's why I showed you the map at the beginning. It's all over the place. You're hearing reports too that they plan regime change. I mean, this is the Australian news. I'm just showing you different points of view on this one.
We're all in the shelter. The kids, everybody, we're all in the shelter. And just for anybody who's wondering, in the U.S., if we could have gone back in time and prevented North Korea from acquiring a nuclear weapon, I'm sure a lot of us would have said, yes, let's do this, because the world is much less safe because that crazy regime has nuclear power. So what we're doing right now, the U.S. is leading the world in preventing an Islamist regime from getting a nuclear power. And that is something that everybody should stand behind. And for that, the Israelis are going into the shelters. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. Stay safe, everybody. I'm going to keep you updated. I'm Israel Chai.
So I guess she's happy to hang out in the bomb shelters while the bombs are falling, because evidently we have to attack everyone. And she's like, oh, wow, if we go back in time and attack North Korea, let's go do that too, right? This is who these people are. Just want to show you.
Seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran.
John, you just watched that almost 8-minute speech from the US president there. What were your main takeaways from what he had to say?
My main impression listening to that is that's Israel's agenda, that's Israel's talking points, not the United States. That same president said that he obliterated Iran's nuclear program in June, July last year. If they obliterated it then, why is it an imminent threat now? 2 weeks ago, Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's Prime Minister, came to Washington with several points beyond the nuclear deal. One of them was ballistic missiles and one of them was Iran's proxies through the region. That's what I'm hearing there now. That speech could have been written and delivered by Benjamin Netanyahu. That is completely different from what Donald Trump's been saying. Only yesterday he said we are negotiating. And they were all looking for a nuclear deal, but there he's talking about 1983 and this and that, and they're bloodthirsty and terror. My main impression is that this is being driven by Israel, and what we just heard was the President of the United States, in my assessment, almost saying word for word, Israel's agenda.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear that. Again, this is from Australian news. And then you look at basically just spread of the violence. I mean, you got more updates on this stuff. It's frustrating. It's sad. I already know how the American news is going to play this out, right? They say, oh, well, guys, we have to rally around the flag. It's so awesome, right? Don't you support the troops? They'll say this kind of stuff. They probably won't talk about this. Like, for example, 5 killed in Israeli attack on elementary school in Iran. Iran's state-run IRNA news agency has reported that Israeli strike hit an elementary girls' school in Manab, a city of Hormozgan province of southern Iran. It added that 5 students were killed. All right. This is just a few minutes ago. It says, renewed explosions in Tehran, an indication of attacks continuing. We can confirm that little more than half hour ago, new sounds explosions were heard here in Tehran. We couldn't verify locations because of the internet blackout and lack of communications. But that's an indication of the continuing of this operation. People earlier today were asking if this was just an attack or a wave of attacks. But now it's clear, and has also been expressed by the U.S. side, this is going to be a sustained operation. The Iranian Foreign Ministry, through its spokesman, has said Iran has only good intentions towards its neighbors in the region, but also said it is going to defend itself. So that's where we are. And please be safe out there. I'll keep you updated if I hear anything else, and I'll catch you all in the next video.